Hi friends, it's Belinda here from Be Making Joy. Welcome to episode 75 of What Brings Me Joy, a mostly knitting podcast from my home here in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. I am a knitting pattern designer, and this is often where you'll find a sneak peek of my upcoming designs. And I always have several other projects on the needles from other designers to talk about. I'm recording this on Thursday, August 13th. 2026, and it's episode 75. I've been doing this for about 5 years now. If you're new here, welcome, and if you're a returning viewer, I'm so glad to have you back. My last episode was on July 14th, almost a month ago. I now have 2 finished objects to talk about and progress on a few other things, but first, I wanted to highlight a fabulous project, a beautiful art project that was brought to my attention by my oldest daughter. It's the Red Dress Project, and I will link the website in my description box below. And this dress took 14 years to complete. It went to 51 different countries, 380 different people embroidered different portions of it. And now it's traveling the world to various museums and galleries on display. I won't talk about the purpose of the project in case I get the details wrong, but if you're interested, check out the website, reddressembroidery.com. It's amazing. And I believe my daughter said she met someone who had worked on the project when it came to Australia. She's now in Australia. She's been there since January. She's taken some high-level embroidery courses, and she's joined an embroidery guild and met some friends. So I have one photograph of her own work. She gave this to my mom when she came up to Canada to visit mom in the hospital. Now she's back in Australia. Our other girls are also quite crafty, and I wanted to share some of their work with you. And our middle daughter, she has done embroidery in the past as well, and now she's delving into sewing, garment making. And she made this for my youngest daughter. So it's made from old jeans. You can see the old jeans, very shaped, formed, I don't know what you call these, corsets. She had it pretty much finished when she came down and had her sister try it on, and then quickly made some more adjustments on my sewing machine. So I am quite impressed with the shaping details on that. And the youngest daughter, has done a lot of crocheting in the past. And I think I've shown you a few of her pieces over the years. Now she's into photography. She got herself a new digital camera, and she's into watercolor painting. I believe that's what this is. So while we were in Nova Scotia, it was at the time of the strawberry moon, which is the full moon closest to the strawberry harvest time. And it's a beautiful bright red. So she took pictures, and then she did this drawing from her picture. And that was pretty much exactly the color of the moon. And these little squares are magnets from Walmart. It's a white canvas magnet square, and she bought a bunch of them. So it's the strawberry moon. So she did a strawberry. Oops, let's hold it the right way. And then she played around with abstracts of making the moon look like a strawberry. So she made quite a series of them. And I'm not sure what went there, different colors. And then one of the flowers she took a picture of, and I'm not sure which way it goes. I think it goes this way. And then she was playing around with my logo. She originally drew my logo. She originally drew my logo on a drawing pad with an app on her computer. So now she's done a hand-painted drawing of it for me. Now there's nothing in my room here that's magnetic to put it on. So these are all on the inside of our front door. But yeah, I love him. He's cute. The first logo she drew for me was not quite as cute. It was good, but this is cuter. So there, that's my pride of my kids. So now a little bit of a quick brief life update before we talk about the knitting. Our youngest daughter has gotten a job. She's in her third week of working full-time. I'm not sure exactly what she's doing, but she said that most of her day is putting labels onto things. It's up in the northeast of the city, so she's been taking the C train to and from. So a 15-minute walk to this train station from home, a train downtown, switch trains downtown, out to the northeast, and then a 3-minute walk to her destination. It's going well. Sometimes we'll pick her up at the station at the end of the day, saving her the walk home, especially if it's rainy or smoky. But other than that, she's just gung-ho and off she goes. Seems to be doing well. Yeah, there's been a lot of fires in Canada again this year, so it's been smoky quite a lot. That's what happens when you live in a country that's mostly fast-growing forest. So my lungs are hurting. Dan and I did escape to Arizona for a week last week. We traded the smoke for extreme heat. The highs in Arizona were 45, 46 Celsius, which is about 113, 114 Fahrenheit. And the lowest it got at night was 30 Celsius, which is 86 Fahrenheit. So for a Canadian, anything over 30 is extreme. But the place had a pool and air conditioning, and we had a nice week. And at home, we're working on going through everything in our basement, purging, packing it up. We have movers coming next week to carry everything up to store it in the garage because we're getting the basement renovated. We need to get it renovated because the floor has several sections where it has cracked and broken in. So lifting the carpet to investigate revealed that in several spots they used, what's it called? Particle board instead of plywood. So they piecemealed it with some particle board and some plywood. So we're getting that carpet ripped out, get those pieces all fixed up, new flooring put in, painting and whatnot. So I'll be busy for the next little while working on that. Gotta get it all packed up. I've made a lot of progress, but there's so much stuff down there because there's craft storage room within the basement. Lots of craft supplies from when the kids were way little. I'm getting there. I did pull back out the quilt, the t-shirt quilt that I was making for my husband out of all his running shirts. So I'll stick a picture in there. I did a little bit more work on that while we still had the pool table, ping pong table in our possession. We have since had someone come in and take it apart and cart it out of here. We were going to pay the guy to remove it, and he said, "Oh, I'll take it myself." And he's setting up his own little pool room at home. Yeah, I think that's the highlights from the last month. So let's talk about the knitting. I did finish this t-shirt first, but I'll talk about the sweater first so that I can take it off. This is the Jean Cardigan, patterned by Joanna Baum, B-O-H-M-E. I started this project in late December, early January. You see the phantom feather pattern in it all the way through it. Can't quite tell if you're seeing it, but usually my lighting's pretty good. It's a very detailed pattern. It's 18 pages, half of which are charts because different charts are needed for each size to incorporate that lace into the increases. I wouldn't call it a beginner pattern. It's not written out step by step so much as it is a series of notes that go together. But if you understand raglan construction and can follow knitting charts, you'll be fine. So I love this double knit button band, but that's where my work had stalled for the last couple of months. I had to redo this button band 3 times, I think. At first I was playing yarn chicken. I first did a good part of the button band in the purple and then realized might run out. I would weigh the yarn, knit 10 rows, weigh it again, figured out how many grams per row, and then how many rows I had to do, and the math, and it was not going to be enough, so I pulled it back, tried again with purple on the outside and the white on the inside. That didn't work because when you're double knitting with 2 colors, your stitches are bigger than with a single color. So it wasn't working, and it also wasn't going to be enough purple to do that either, or even to do a single button band. So, and I love the double knitting button band, so we did it in white. My highest buttonhole is right here. So when I put buttons on, like I'm not likely to button it a lot, but whoops. I have some plastic purple buttons, but they're not quite the right purple. So the pattern includes instructions for knitting buttons, which I think is what I will try to do, because I still have some of the purple left. And the yarn I used was Karen Cloud Cakes. I don't remember what the colorway was called for this purple, but Karen tend to do colors just for a season and then they don't come back again. So I couldn't get any more purple. I used the needles that were called for in the pattern. And it was a different size needles for the button band, of course. I don't remember what those numbers were, but I didn't do a gauge watch. I should have done a gauge watch, but I got lucky. It turned out very nice size. I haven't blocked it yet, but that yarn is 100% polyester, so I don't think it's going to grow. Perfect, isn't it? Okay. I made the second size in the pattern, which is a medium / large. I don't know exactly how much ease I have in there, but that was very comfortable. Now this is the Long Island Iced Tea pattern by JST Knitwear Designs, Jennifer Shields Tolan. I think I need to move the chair and get back here better. Here we go. Fits very nicely. Gives this beautiful design in the arms. I started this project while I was back in my hometown at the end of June, and I finished it at home here in the middle of July. I think the day after I posted my last podcast, I finished it. The yarn is from Pearl Passion. It's a 75% superwash merino, 10% nylon, 10% stellina, fingering weight. Pearl Passion is a hand dyer in Estevan, Saskatchewan, Canada. And the color is silver. Yeah, I'm not sure why it's called the Long Island Iced Tea, but this stitch pattern is in a lot of Jennifer's patterns. She calls it the Riptide stitch. Many of her patterns have the name Riptide in them. But this one is the Long Island Iced Tea. It's the first one of her patterns that I've done, but I absolutely love it. It was a well-written pattern. I highly recommend it. I did make the mistake of casting on too few stitches under the underarms. I did only 10 stitches when it was supposed to be 12, which when I got down to the waist became a problem because the math didn't math to do this lace. So I figured it out what I did wrong, fixed it by adding just a couple more stitches, 4 more stitches to be exact, to make the pattern work. And it's worked out quite fine. The pattern did say to use a smaller size for the bind off, but it's an I-cord bind off. So I didn't use the smaller size because I-cords have no elasticity and tend to get tighter on them. So I continued with the same needle size. I modified the sleeves. I decided to add another 1.5 inches rather than just having the sleeve caps. Yeah, so I just continued the patterning another 1.5 inches. Yeah, very happy with it. I wore it to our convention at the end of July. I didn't mention that in my life update. At the end of July, we had our Jehovah's Witnesses International Convention. I met lots of people. I gave away about 20 of my dishcloths. I have one here still that I haven't woven in the ends in. I have, I think, 5 left in my purse that I didn't give away. Giving away 20 dishcloths to complete strangers is quite an accomplishment for me, being so shy that I actually spoke to at least 20 strangers and gave them a gift. That was fun. Yeah, so I guess finished objects as well. I finished three more dishcloths since our last episode. But, yeah, well, I'll show you that. It's the Three Sisters mountain design. My free pattern on my blog. Now, what's on the needles? I took another stab at Super Sock World Championships. So here's my travel knitting bag. I don't remember where I bought this bag, but it's an oily protective material for the bees. Anyway, they're fiber fair somewhere. Anyway, what's in it is the summertime socks, part of the Super Sock World Championships. I had set out lap 2, jumped back in at the start of lap 3, but I've realized that socks for me are just meant to be a purse project, a travel project. When I'm at home, I prefer to be knitting on a bigger project. So I hadn't even finished the leg by the time of the deadline of lap 3. But it did fly to Phoenix and back with me. And actually, we had to change our flights because of the WestJet pending strike, and we were anxious. We changed our flight to American Airlines and United Airlines, which meant we had a layover in Dallas on the way down and Denver on the way up. So I got lots of knitting time in. The pattern is called Summertime. I've forgotten the name of the designer, but it will be linked in my show notes down below. And I'm using Peyton's Croy sock yarn. I don't know if I have a label to tell you the color. This is it. Peyton's Croy. Metal Stripes is the colorway. So the instructions for Super Sock World Championship is that a sock needs to be a minimum of 64 stitches to qualify. So it's too big for me. So I used a 2.25 millimeter needle to try and make it fit. And it does fit. But it wouldn't have fit if I had continued to follow the instructions for the entries. Once I realized the day before the due date, I was only at this portion of the leg. I decided to end the leg there, start the heel. Otherwise, the leg would have been longer, or the foot would have had to been longer to get the required number of repeats. So anyway, it turns out it does fit me, and I should maybe pop it on blockers, take pictures. I need pictures for my Ravelry page. I need to update my Ravelry page. I will put pictures in here for you. Now, I have to say, because I'm not an avid sock knitter, I will not be participating in this competition again. But the page is linked in the show notes down below if you're interested. If you're somebody that loves socks and loves getting free new patterns, it's for you, but it's not for me. I want to make socks that are actually going to fit somebody and not take forever to make, and not use tons of yarn, and not be so difficult. Because like I said, I prefer for them to be my travel knitting. And also some of the patterns in the competition, I hate to be negative, but some of them were badly written in my opinion, especially this last one. But if you're an avid sock knitter, that's not a problem for you. All right, next. This bag I bought at a fiber festival. I think I bought it at Woolstock in Nova Scotia. Very nice bag. In it is my Watermark Cardigan, patterned by Marie Green. I think her tagline is, her handle is Olive Knits. So Marie Green does a knit a sweater in 4-day challenge every summer, the July long weekend. But this year it wasn't so much as a 4-day challenge as a summer long challenge, and this is going to be her last one, or her last challenge. She's done 10 of them. So anyway, the Watermark Cardigan is a raglan cardigan, the same kind of shaping as the Jean Cardigan did. A different stitch pattern. So it also came to Phoenix with me, and I got to the splitting for sleeves just before we came home. So that pattern's going to continue down the sleeves and down the body. Very lovely. This yarn is Sassy Strings. They're somewhere in Alberta. Of course, because I bought it at a yarn festival. Sassy Strings on their Sassy DK weight in the color Mountain Retreat. And when I reach the end of this skein, I'm probably going to pause the body and go and do the sleeves first. That's usually my method, getting the sleeves to fit right first, and then that often affects the length of the body. I have 3 skeins left. This is 2 already. I don't know if you can see where I changed. Yeah, here's where the second one started. This one, it's a thoroughly written out pattern. Every line of knitting is spelled out for you, but that does result in a pattern document that I think it's 48 pages long. because each size needs its own instruction pages. The chart is an 8-stitch multiple 8-row repeat, I think, something like that. But in order to incorporate all the shaping increases into the lace repeat every round, takes a lot of detail, takes a lot of explaining. So it's written out, fully written out line by line. But there are only 6 rows of knitting on each page because it's detailed, very detailed, because I'll have a look at how that increasing line goes. More stitches are added, and then every repeat they need to be incorporated into the lace. So I wouldn't recommend printing out this pattern. I download mine to iBooks and use the markup feature to check off each row as I've done it. But then when I went to Phoenix, I forgot my iPad. So I had to download it again to my phone. I had to count stitches and count rows to figure out exactly where I was. And then mark from my phone from then on for the rest of the trip. So zooming in. Check. Yeah, I loved it. Gorgeous patterning. So, yeah, it should be fairly fast from now on. I'm done the increases. The body is no more shaping in the body. It's just the 8-row repeat. And yeah, needles, I used the ones recommended in the pattern. Did I do a gauge swatch? Yes, I did a gauge swatch. Where is that gauge swatch? Not there. Oh well, but I did a gauge swatch this time, though. Okay, a little design chat. I've been working on a tote bag design to enter into the Knitting Guild Association's design contest. The due date is September 30th. I've knit a bit, changed my mind on the dimensions, rewritten the pattern, frogged, knit some more. I decided it's going to be knit in pieces and seamed instead of my original idea of knitting in the round. Seaming will give it more structure, more strength. I'm not going to share too many details about my design concept until after the contest, but here's the bottom panel done in a linen stitch, 12 inches by 2 inches, so it can carry my iPad and my laptop on its end. It's the plan now. So there's the bottom panel, linen stitch with a nice thick sturdy stitch. Here's one of my side panels. Here's the front panel, and now I'm starting a special stitch which I'm not going to tell you about until after the design contest. I've already chosen the name for the pattern, which ties into that special stitch. The contest is due the end of September, so hopefully sometime in October I can tell you about it. Now, speaking of designs, my upcoming designs, the Maple Leaf cardigan is in the test knitting phase. It's coming along, although I have only gotten one test knitter. But she's given me some wonderful feedback, and my tech editor is excellent. So I'm feeling pretty good about this. I'm hoping to have it published the first week of September to Ravelry. But yeah, I am a little sad that I only have one test knitter, but like I said, she's wonderful. It's normal for an unknown designer to have trouble getting test knitters. Especially in the summer. People don't want to be knitting a heavy sweater in the summer. And especially for the larger sizes. So I have a plea for you. If you are able to knit and give me feedback on my sizes 2X and up, I'm looking for you. If you're interested in any of my designs, reach out to me. I would gladly gift you a pattern in exchange for your detailed feedback and the use of your photographs. The maple leaf cardigan, if you hadn't seen before, here's a picture of it, and look for it in early September. Now, let's update my WIP count numbers, and because that's the sole purpose for me of doing this podcast, is to keep track of how many projects I cast on, keep that number under control and keep me accountable. So I track my WIP count numbers and I track my grams in, grams out numbers to make sure that I am using more yarn than I buy. So let me fetch my notebook. So here's my WIPs list. This list has been ongoing since last fall. I keep track of when I started it and when I finished it. And I have, last episode, I had 5 projects on the needles. I have since finished the Jean Cardigan, let's cross that off, and the Long Island iced tea. I started the summertime socks, and I started the Watermark Cardigan. So I'm still at 5 projects on the needles. And that's kind of the number that I've been at for a while now, kind of the number that I want to stay at. So I'm not getting overwhelmed with too many projects. I am overwhelmed by all the yarn that I have assigned to projects that I really want to knit, but I'm trying to keep organized. Now the other stat is my grams in, grams out update. I'm not stopping myself from buying more yarn. I'm just trying to make sure that I'm actually knitting more than I'm buying. So when a project is finished, I record how many grams it weighed. And when I buy more yarn, I record how many grams I bought. So in June, I had bought a lot of yarn, which really dropped my number. So my report on July 14th, I had 587.54 grams more knit up than purchased in the year 2026 to date. That number had been way high and then dropped in June. So for July, I finished the Long Island iced tea. It weighed in at 196 grams. I finished 3 more dishcloths. They totaled 89 grams. And I finished the Jean Cardigan. It weighed in at 433 grams. Now, I haven't tallied this up yet. Let's grab the calculator app on my iPad and tally this up. Started with 587.54, added 196, add 89, add 433. My total to date now is 1,305.54. 1,305.54 grams more knit up this year than purchased this year. I'm feeling good about that number. I feel so very much more in control now. My calendar book, my bees. I bought next year's calendar book already, and it's the same. Bees. Like these books are by school year, I guess. They end in September, start in September, so I need to get a new one. Okay, that's it. I didn't buy any more yarn, but I do have acquisitions to show you of wool and a book. And where did I put you? There you are. So I bought the book Craft Without Pain by a physical therapist / knitter, Andrea Louis, PT / DPT. I don't know what DPT stands for. PT is physical therapist. So it's tips to improve our posture, reduce strain, and prevent injury. So it's a very good book. It's laid out section by section of your anatomy, what proper posture is, how to exercise those parts, etc. And then there is an exercise plan, like tips on how to plan your exercise plan, and a progress log. So I have some more reading to do there. And Longway Homestead, now don't show the address, my address. So I get a monthly subscription now from Longway Homestead, which is in Manitoba, Alberta, Manitoba, Winnipeg. No, goodness gracious, where is it? Genevieve, Manitoba, which is about an hour outside of Winnipeg, Canada. And what it is a Breed of the Month club. Each month we get some wool vacuum packed from a different sheep each month. And she sources the wool from her farm and other farms across Canada. So this month's July's wool is Jacob. And there's the Jacob sheep. And I will read it for you. The Jacob sheep is a British sheep breed, but its true origins are not known. Some think it originated from Spain and then crossbred with British sheep, but no one is certain. The breed gets its name from the Bible in the Old Testament and a reference to Jacob taking every speckled and spotted sheep from his father-in-law's flock and breeding them. Jacob's sheep were seen as ornamental sheep and were kept not as a production sheep for meat or wool, but as ornaments in many British parks. They are a smaller breed with some unique traits. The first thing that is noticeable about the Jacob sheep is the multiple horns they have growing from their skull. Jacob sheep can have 2, 4, or 6 horns, and they are considered polycrates, meaning many-horned animal. They are also a piebald animal, meaning they have a pattern of unpigmented spots, white, on a background of pigmented, dark fiber. Jacob sheep are hardy and are excellent grazers in poorer conditions, although all those horns can be hard on a shepherd's infrastructure. And they are very attentive mothers to their lambs. They are on the conservation watch list to ensure their genetics are preserved. About the wool. Jacob wool has a fair amount of variability within it. Obviously, the color is variable, not only from one sheep to another, but even as an individual animal. You can find spots of white, black, brown, lilac, or gray. Lilac? Okay, yep, lilac. The different colors will vary slightly from each other in texture and staple. If you are ever able to purchase and process a Jacob fiber by hand, if you are ever able to purchase and process a Jacob fiber by hand, you will have the opportunity to see the variation up close. However, we blend the fleece together and the variation doesn't play a role in our preparation of the fiber. Jacob wool is open and lofty and will have some luster to it. Fleeces contain hemp fibers, and the variation within the fleece can produce a more tweed-like fiber. The depth of color within the fleece is perhaps the Jacob's strongest asset and can be used in designs that will benefit from a rich color or tweed-like appearance. The micron count will vary, so some fleeces may be fine enough for next-to-skin projects, while others would be more suited to outerwear. Jacob wool is lovely for sweaters, hats, mittens, vests, and other textiles. Jacob wool can be dyed, but would you really want to with such stunning colors to begin with? The average staple length is 3 to 6 inches. The fiber diameter is 23 to 33 microns. The fleece weighs 4 to 5.5 pounds. And they have slightly pointed tips, some luster, and a moderate crimp. So let's have a look and see. Oh, I haven't even cut the package open yet. Oh, yes, look at that color. Pretty. And let's pull off that. This one actually feels kind of soft. Nice. So I haven't gotten back into my spinning again like I had planned. I started collecting these in April. My intention is to buy an e-spinner. I don't know why I haven't ordered it yet. I do have something still on the drop spindle. I think I would love an e-spinner. And my intention is to spin up each month and do a square of each fiber and put it together in a blanket. Print off a label for each fiber from my sewing machine. It does embroidery letters, and put it on each square. That's my intention. That is beautiful. I love the coloring in that. Okay, Yep, I believe that is all I have to share today. So thank you so much for watching. If you've enjoyed it, please click the like button and give me a comment in the comment section. Let me know what's been bringing you joy this past month. And happy knitting, happy crocheting, happy diamond dotting, happy beading, happy jigsaw puzzling, happy sewing, baking. Whatever your favorite craft is, go make some joy.